Hello friends, this video on structure of atoms part 30 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Before watching this video, please make sure that you have watched part 1 to part 12. Let's come back to the atomic models. Let's discuss some developments that was the reason why Bohr came with this Bohr model. The first thing was the dual character of electromagnetic radiation. This talk was going on very extensively at that point of time. Now also, there were experimental results that shows atomic spectra, and on these two, Rutherford didn't have any answer. So these two were the development that happened that time, where the dual character of electromagnetic radiations were exposed, and also experimentally they showed the atomic spectra. These two developments led Bohr to think about a new model, and he came up with a new model. Before we discuss the Bohr model, let's discuss about the dual character of radiations, electromagnetic radiations, and the atomic spectra. Let's start with the dual character of electromagnetic radiations. Let's talk about dual character of electromagnetic radiation. What is dual character? What do you mean by dual character? When you say dual character, that means that particular thing, in this case electromagnetic radiation, possesses both wave-like and particle-like properties. So what is wave-like and particle-like property? Let's see that. When you say wave nature, it has properties as diffraction. For example, if you see, there's water also has wave-like property. If you block this water, again it follows the same pattern from the holes, right? It comes out. Like any waves has this diffraction property. If you see interference, water also, if you see, there are bubbles of water, you drop 2 or 3 stones here, these waves come and they interfere. These are a common property of a wave. So wave, when you think of wave, you think of diffraction and interference. When you think of particle, you think of something like ball. You hit the ball, it comes back, right? You see, you hit the ball, it comes back. You hit the ball, it comes back. This is what a particle does. You hit it, it comes back, right? So this is what a particle nature is. For example, if you see black body radiations, photoelectric effect, the variation of heat capacity as temperature, the line spectra. These are all a particle nature of electromagnetic radiations. These are wave nature of electromagnetic radiations. We'll discuss all this in detail. Just understand that when you talk about wave, you think of diffraction and interference. When you talk about particle, you think of a ball. You hit it, it comes back, right? So let's talk about more about the wave nature of electromagnetic radiation. So this guy Maxwell in 1870 suggested that when any electrically charged particle, please note it has to be electrically charged particle, and that moves under acceleration, accelerating electric and magnetic field is produced. These electromagnetic radiations are produced, and these fields are transmitted in the form of waves, and these waves are called electromagnetic waves. For example, light is an electromagnetic wave. And if you see here, the electric field and the magnetic field are perpendicular. If you see, this is my red is my electric field and blue is my magnetic, and they are perpendicular to each other, and they vibrate in two mutually perpendicular planes. And the wave nature means it should show diffraction and interference behavior. And we know that electromagnetic radiation shows diffraction and interference behavior. And if you notice that these electromagnetic waves, if you see, as I told, they have this electric and magnetic field, and they vibrate mutually perpendicularly. And unlike sound waves if you see, or water waves, these electromagnetic waves, they don't require medium and can move in vacuum. So one more property of the electromagnetic wave is that it's a wave and they don't require medium. And frequency, it is frequency and wavelength. These are the units which are used to represent the electromagnetic radiations, and wave number is also used to describe waves. Wave number is nothing but 1 by wavelength, right? And the SI unit of frequency is hertz. We have done all this thing in the past classes, that's why I'm not repeating that, but just this is to make you understand that electromagnetic wave is a wave. It has wave nature, but that's obvious, so we should not spend much time on that. But we will study different types of electromagnetic radiations, and this is like this. The electromagnetic radiation, if you see, This is my wavelength. Wavelength starts from 10 to the power minus 6 to 10 to the power 8, and this is my frequency. So if you see all the radio waves which we have, they have huge wavelength, 10 to the power 4 meter. That is as big as a very huge building. So this is the wavelength of the radio waves, right? And then we have microwaves, infrared waves, and these are the visible spectrum we have from red to blue, VIBGYOR, right? VIBGYOR we have violet, indigo, then blue, yellow, orange, red. And if you see, this is my wavelength 750. This is the wavelength in nanometers. So this is my whole electromagnetic spectrum. It consists of, you start from radio waves and you end in gamma rays, X-rays, UV rays, everything is part of electromagnetic radiation. This is my electromagnetic spectrum. If you want to visualize this in this fashion, also you can do that. So if you see, the wavelength of radio waves is almost 1000 meter, almost size of a building. If you talk about microwaves, size of a butterfly, infrared, needle point. Talk about visible rays, and then we have visible rays has also very small wavelength and high frequency. And then we have gamma rays, X-rays, gamma rays. Their wavelength is very, very small, and this guys. And if you notice here, the gamma rays, if you see, the frequency is so high, very high frequency. And the wavelength is so small that even if there is a wall, right, it crosses that. If there is a thin, big tin or big biscuit, bag, building, it will cross everything. Why? Because the wavelength is very small. It's at the nuclei level. The nuclei level. X-rays can also cross, but if you see the bones and all, it won't cross, right? And that's why you see it's the atomic level. The size of the X-ray is almost, the wavelength of X-ray is almost equal to the atoms. And if you talk about radio waves also, if you see the frequency of we have a lot of problems that the radio signals are not getting fine, so we put a big antenna and then we get good signals. The reason because the radio signals have a very long wavelength and very less frequency. They don't have good penetration power and the wavelength is very high. So it takes time, or it could not cross the building not properly. So you have the signal problem. But if you have something called X-rays, gamma rays, Bluetooth and all, you don't have much of the problems. That's all about electromagnetic spectrum. Let's have one question. Why do we see wall when most of it's empty? I have told you that if you talk about the wall, the basic building block of the wall is atom. In an atom, you have 99% empty space. So if the basic building block of something is atom and then it's 99% empty space, this guy also has 99% empty space. Correct? So if you see, actually, this wall has 99% empty space. But still, we see walls. Light is not able to cross. Light comes back. Why? Why is it so? Think. There's a wall, and I see 99% of the wall is empty space. Light goes, comes back. Why? This is as good as this example. If you see the net, in this net also I see the 99% of the space is empty. Right? My light is like a cat. Cat won't be able to cross it. If the cat tries to hit it, it has to come back. But the ant is like X-ray here, or my gamma rays here. It can cross. Hope you understand. See, the space between these, I have the space. If I have like one atom, I have two atoms. Like this, I have atoms, right? And all are empty actually. All are empty space. All are empty space. All are empty space. The only space which, the only obstacle they have is these dots. But still the light can't pass because the light wavelength is much bigger than this distance. They are much bigger. Similarly here, right? The distance between these empty spaces is this guy, but the cat can't pass. Why? Because the cat is bigger than this. Similarly here we have 99% of empty space, but still we see it because light can't cross it. Light bounces back because the light wavelength may be like this much big. It will not be able to cross. It will not be able to cross this. And that's why we see this. But if you pass this gamma rays here, I have a gamma rays will easily cross this. Gamma rays will easily cross this and come out from here. Why? Because gamma rays can cross this, right? This gamma rays wavelength is of the same range. It can cross this. Gamma rays is like like an ant. It can cross this net. A similar theory applies here. Please understand, this is a very critical concept. A lot of people don't think this won't come in examination, but just should understand why when I say that 99% of the space is empty here, the walls has 99% of the empty space in front of you, but you see the wall, the light comes back. This is the reason. It's like a net. Light is like a cat. Cat won't cross it. But X-ray, gamma rays, they have a very, very small wavelength, very high frequency. They can cross this. Because the wavelength, if you see, is of this range. So if you see the X-rays and gamma rays, the wavelength is of atomic and nuclear level range. So these guys can cross. These guys can cross at this level. But the light won't cross. It's very big. There is no chance of radio signal getting crossed. No way. Hope you understand this. Thank you. Visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thanks once again.